Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today we're going to be previewing the Multipick Sandman lockpick sets. Let's get into it. So about 3 or 4 months ago, Multipick reached out to me and asked me if I was willing to consult on some pick sets that could be competitive for the European and North American markets. I gave that consultation, which was just like, hey, this is my opinion. This is what I've seen work. This is what I've seen fail. And this is what I would put together that I think would be very competitive on today's market. They went through the process of creating these tool sets. And then about a month ago, they reached out and said, hey, we really like these sets. Could we put your name on the sets and say that you helped us design them? I said, yeah, sure, would love to. And so now we have the Multipick Sandman lockpick sets. I am not receiving any type of royalties or funds or compensation, nothing for Multipick other than just sponsorship for my YouTube channel by way of free tools for review and for giveaways and for my competition lockpicking team. I'm not an ambassador for Multipick, and that's pretty much it. I don't have any connection to Multipick other than they really like my videos and they support what I do for the locksport community. And I consulted on this pick set, and these are just my ideas. I didn't design anything in these pick sets. This is just what I thought would be really great for starters, beginner, intermediate, and advanced. I would love to show and preview what these tools are. I'm going to be going into further review and further detail over the coming weeks for each individual set and the thinking behind all of it. But right now we're just doing a preview. Before I can talk about these sets, I want to talk about the inspiration for these sets because, you know, I didn't create or really invent any original thoughts on this. I just looked at the last 30 years of lockpick manufacturing and I gave my consultation based off of that. So let's start off with that first. So for this to be effective, let's start off with HPC. HPC was founded, I think, in the year 1956, and they were really the first North American manufacturer for locksmith tools such as lockpicks, and that's really where I want to start off this narrative. I used to own a lot of the original HPC sets, but in 2017 they were purchased by Hudson Lock Company, who also acquired ESP, and we no longer have access to the old HPC pick sets. I would have to find them new old stock, which I'm still looking for to this day. I don't know who invented the double-ended turning tools with these half twist here, or a rigid on one side and a half twist on the other. I have no idea who did that, but HPC definitely usually beats everybody by at least by age, by a good, you know, couple decades here. So if they didn't come up with this, I have no idea. These are HPC turning tools. This is actually one of the modern Hudson Lock Company sets. This is like, I think it's called like the Panther set, you know, but it's the same profiles that they have in these profiles from HPC offerings, and this is what they would have had in their superior lockpick set from pre-Hudson Lock Company. We have a short hook, you know, and we have the diamond, we have a rounded hook, and then we have a rake, and then they'll have some other locksmith specific items like a half ball, double ball for wafer locks, another rake because redundance, and then we have a postal hook, and then some, you know, broken key extractors. But the one thing that I want you guys to take away from here really is these turning tools here, those double-ended turning tools. Why would they have two of each? You know, because is it just for redundancy, or they are different than thickness or anything like that? From what I can tell, these are all the same size, but let's keep cruising and let's talk about Lab. Lab became really popular in the late 80s, early 90s. People really liked their tool steel. They had double-ended picks. This is their entire case or set. I had to purchase some extras. They're numbered like 1 through 7, I believe, and this pick set comes with like 2 through 5 or 2 through 6, and you had to purchase 1 and 7 separately. But the thing that I want to take away from here is we see these double-ended turning tools again, but the difference is these double-ended turning tools now have true bottom of keyway and true top of keyway here, okay? And we have different sizes, 3 different sizes. And so this was something that was really popular around the early 90s. And I've talked to a bunch of locksmiths that were around back then, and they said these were the turning tools to get, these were the tools to go for. Like, people were a real big fan of these turning tools. And we have the just your average HPC offering of profiles, but we start to see some other things like this this hollow half diamond here, which may have been a precursor, or it may have been an inspiration for a Bogota at some point. We have what may have been a inspiration for a worm rake. And, you know, we have our normal flat hook, and we have a rounded hook, and then we have our thins. So this is a thin. Christina Palmer made thins pretty popular with Multipick, and you know, just a regular half diamond and things like that. But the turning tools are really what I want you guys to focus on further. So let's get that out of the way. Let me scoot these HPC out of the way here real quick. Next on our list is we're going to talk about the Longhorn lockpickers. So based off the popularity of double-ended turning tools and the accessibility of lockpicks, thanks to HPC, Lab, Ritan, Gozo, Majestic, Brokage, ProLock, things like that, we had a company based out of Georgia named Southern Specialties. Southern Specialties was one of the very first, if not the first, I think they're the first lockpick manufacturer willing to make lockpick tools for locksport outside of locksmithing, okay? And so I don't remember the name off the top of my head of the original owner. The current owner is Jeff Reagan. He purchased the company Southern Specialties in 2016, but that doesn't really matter as much. What I want to show you is these, what are called the Longhorn tensioners, or Longhorn tension set. So this is 3 turning tools at 3 different thicknesses, very similar to those Lab turning tools that we saw right here, almost same size and everything, but we don't have any twists. We have just completely rigid. So we have that top of keyway tension here, just like on the Lab turning tool here, and then we have the bottom of keyway tension right there. So these are actually Christina Palmer designs, I believe. They were made popular by Jonathan Gordon, the creator of the Longhorn Lockpicking Club, which was founded in 2007 in Austin, Texas, which is the second oldest locksport group in all of North America. The oldest being the one out of Boston, I think created around 2005 or 2006 timeframe, which was the first U.S. tool group, and that was created by Skylar Town and Squelchtone and a few others. And so this guy right here would have been accessible sometime in the early 2000s and the early teens through the Longhorn Lockpickers. And this was the, I believe this to be the original Longhorn Lockpickers set. This is now known as the Longhorn, or no, this is now known as the Classic 2500 set. But it no longer comes with these turning tools. You have to buy that set with these turning tools right here, which is the same thing as these double-ended turning tools, except they're just single-ended now. I do believe that they are still probably inspired by Christina Palmer's website, elvencraft.com, but this is the original Longhorn lockpicker set. In my opinion, I believe that's what it is. I reached out to Aaron, their current welder, and he couldn't remember. He just said it was just one of the oldest sets that they had when they picked up the company in 2016. This is what I remember. We have a half diamond, we have a Bogota, we have a DeForest half diamond, we have a rocker pick, we have that hollow half diamond like we saw in one of those previous pick sets here, which was the, I think it was the Lab, yeah. So this guy right here, which was inspired by Lab, and then just a regular short hook. I promise you there's a point to all of this. So this is Southern Specialties, designed for the Longhorn Lockpickers, and it's now named the Classic 2500 pick set. Around that time, Tool was collaborating with Southern Specialties, and Tool wanted some lockpicks to sell. So they reached out to Southern Specialties, and they came up with some profiles with Christina Palmer, who is a member of Tool US, and they came out with these profiles right here, these 6 profiles. Very similar to the classic profiles, but now we have a spoon pick instead of a rocker pick. We have a quint rake, which is 5 peaks, and we have a quad rake, which is 4. We now have a traditional HBC style half diamond, and we have a rounded hook and a flat hook. I believe this rounded hook may have been designed by Christina Palmer, because I don't remember seeing it in any other pick sets prior to this. This These profiles would have been seen in the original offering, which would have been called the 12-piece. It's currently called the 12-piece 2500 set, the Tool 12-piece 2500 set, but it's also originally known as the Essential kit. So the Tool Essential kit, right? And it would have sold these turning tools right there. However, Tool left Southern Specialties. These are not Southern Specialties. This is the version 2. Tool left Southern Specialties and created the version 1 Necessary 9 lockpick set, and that is now this set right here, except they're using 301 high yield stainless steel instead of 301 full hard. So this is the version 2 right here, made of 301 high yield stainless steel, and this is made by Covert Instruments. It's not a secret. Covert Instruments struck a deal with Tool to keep Tool in business, and they are now making tools for Tool. So they now have the double-ended turning tools instead of the single turning tools, and they went from a 12-piece set down to a 9-piece set. This is version 1. They started the 9-piece set was started in 2020, and then in 2023 they moved to the 301 high yield stainless steel provided by Covert Instruments. Christina Palmer, having consulted for several manufacturers by this point in her life, I'm looking for that set. Hang on. There is a Christina Palmer pick set here on my desk. I just have to find it. Well, Christina Palmer designed, here it is. Nope, it's not. Okay, I found it. Christina Palmer consulted with Tool on creating their Necessary 9 version 1 and version 2 tool set. Version 1 being that it was made by Southern Specialties in 2020, and then version 2 being made by Covert Instruments. But she went to Multipick and basically said, hey, how about I consult for you guys? And she gave them nearly an identical lockpick set, if not completely identical, except for this one tool called a thin. So it has a rounded hook, and it has a flat hook, it has the spoon pick, and it has a diamond pick, and it has 2 rakes. The only difference is there is a 7th profile in here. And then she said, instead of offering double-ended turning tools to be different from the Tool offering, we'll just offer the individual turning tools by themselves. So 3 top of keyway turning tools and 3 bottom of keyway turning tools. So that's that. Around that time, which would bring us to about 2020, Covert Instruments, which started by lockpicking lawyer and Robert Pingor. Robert Pingor was a business partner of Deviant Olum. I think I'm saying it correctly. It's either Deviant Olum or Deviant Olaf. I don't know. I always say it wrong. But Deviant was head of the Tool US group, and he runs Red Team Tools or Red Team Alliance, whatever it's called. But together, they also operated Core Group. And so Robert Pingor was an instructor with Core Group for several years with Deviant. And so they were getting their tools from Southern Specialties. When Robert Pingor left to create Covert Instruments, they created the first Genesis lockpick set and FNG out of Southern Specialties 301 high yield stainless steel. And they decided to go with the same double-ended turning tools that were now being used in the version 1 and the version 2 Necessary 9 lockpick set. And they went with the same flat hook, round hook, and they went with the same rakes, 2 rakes from the Necessary 9 pick set, but dropping the Christina Palmer designed half diamond and spoon pick. So if you just take out those tools right there, you have the Genesis pick set right here. So here's the Genesis pick set. And then if you take out half of the tools from the Genesis, you have the FNG. So there's a reason why everybody was inspired by somebody. The one thing linking them all together is probably Christina Palmer, because she designed all the tools. And so that brings us up to date today. So now Covert Instruments stepped away from having the tools manufactured from Southern Specialties around 2023 or 2022 timeframe, and they now make them themselves, and they provide tools for Tool. I'm not giving away any manufacturing secrets here. This is common knowledge among the locksport community. Okay, well, that brings us actually up to Jimy Longs. Jimy Longs has been making lockpicks for 2 years now, and he was primarily known for just making hook picks, flats, and rounds. He had never put out turning tools, and he never put out rakes. However, Last year, 2023, he was asked to provide lockpick sets for SaintCon. And SaintCon is a security convention in Utah. I guess it's not proto-Utah, pro something. Anyways, in Utah. And he realized, wow, I can't just give people 4 hook picks. I have to give them tension wrenches and I have to give them rakes. So he created a prototype of a beginner pick set, which was the precursor to the basics lockpick set, which are turning tools designed by Christina Palmer, is one of his good friends. And he designed the Bogota rake himself. He didn't use Christina Palmer design, and he designed the flat hook and the round hook by himself as well. And he purchased molds to create fiberglass injection molded handles. So the basic set is quite similar in the fact that it's just a flat, a round, and a Bogota, and has 3 of the same double-ended turning tools that we see going all the way back a good 15 years to the Longhorn lockpickers. Big thanks to Christina Palmer, and the popularity of that set thanks to Jonathan Gordon, also known as Jagor, of that group. So that's the beginner set. And then I consulted with Jimy Longs, said, man, you need a starter pick set if you want to be able to sell pick sets to conferences or locksport groups. And he agreed. So he created the starter pick set. He had a short run this summer. However, they sold out very quickly. So they're going to be back in production once he gets mass production going. And that is just a simple rake, a simple flat hook, and a single double-ended Christina Palmer design turning tool, which was inspired by all of the previous sets we talked about. So that is the Jimy Longs starter set. So when Multipick came to me and they said, Sandman, we would like your input on some lockpick sets. And I said, sure. And I love the success of the Covert Instruments Genesis pick set. And I love the success of the Covert Instruments FNG, which is half of the Genesis pick set. But the Genesis pick set comes from the tool Necessary 9, and which originally was known as the tool Essential 12-piece set, which had foundations in the classic 2500 pick set with the Longhorn double-ended turning tools that were designed by Christina Palmer. So I knew the history going all the way back, and I gave my consultation based off of that. So I bring all that up because I think the most successful thing in lock sport personally today is to create a minimalist lockpick set made out of high quality steel and functionality here. So I have a short hook and a Bogota, and I have a single double-ended turning tool in 1 millimeter thickness. And this is about as affordable as a lockpick set as you're going to get, whether it be from Covert Instruments, whether it be from Jimy Longs, or whether it be from Multipick. I wanted something affordable for the European market, but I also wanted something that could be affordable if anybody were to get wholesale pricing with Multipick because they run their own locksport group, or they're running a conference, or they're a dealer such as Lockpickers Bench. I wanted something that was affordable to get the high quality tools that Multipick sells in the hands of the buyers. And I did a lot of product testing. Christina Palmer made some really great rakes, and I like the rakes. I really enjoy these rakes mostly for commercial and residential use, but when it comes to padlocks, I really like using a simple Bogota with the 3 peaks, which was designed by Raimundo in 1981. So I have an HPC style short flat hook here, a Raimundo style Bogota rake, and a Christina Palmer double-ended turning tool in 1 millimeter for the starter set. And that was one thing I was really proud of in helping them, is that I wanted to give them some affordable options for both demographics, whether it be US or European. So that's the starter set. Take a look at the beginner set here. And the beginner set is just twice as many tools. It's a 6-piece set as the starter set, but it's nearly twice as much in cost. And we have 3 double-ended turning tools, 1 Bogota, 1 flat hook, 1 round hook. Someone already pointed out and said, well, I think Sandman's just ripping off Covert Instruments. And no, I'm not. I went with the Bogota that was not designed by Christina Palmer, and I went with a flat hook, and I don't think that was designed by Christina Palmer. The rounded hook, maybe. The turning tools, absolutely. The problem is the same designer that designed a majority of these tools also designed the Covert Instruments, designed the tool, chapter tools, also designed the Southern Specialties tools, or had a hand in at least the turning tools from the original classic 2500 pick set that the Longhorn lockpickers used. So I'm not copying anybody other than just following the trend of the success and practicality of what the lockpick designer Christina Palmer had to bring to the table. And I wanted to offer a 4-tier system and pricing. So if anybody's been following my content for any time now, you know that I like to give a budget of Little Timmy, Timothy, Tim, and Big Tim. And for $25, you can procure the beginner pick set, the intermediate set somewhere between Timothy and Tim, and the advanced pick set is somewhere between a Tim and a Big Tim. That's exactly what I wanted. And I wanted the starter set to be even more affordable than the Little Timmy set. So I really don't think, I cannot recommend necessarily more tools to an absolute beginner than the beginner pick set. I think you can do so much with these tools, and I think adding one more tool to this is just extra. It's just fluff, in my opinion, to get starting. You can do so much with a rake, a single flat hook, and a single rounded medium hook here, and 3 double-ended turning tools, and these are all in 6mm. This is something that I wanted to offer to like my locksport group. So I'm talking to Multipick right now about that. Some people are hesitant to purchase tools because they don't know if they'll like the hobby. So that's why we have the starter set. Some people have another $10 to spend. So we have the beginner pick set right here. So I just wanted to cover all different angles for budget. Then I went with the intermediate pick set, which I'm quite proud of. One thing I noticed with Multipick is that Multipick currently doesn't offer certain turning tools. They have the turning tool set 1, which is all the traditional turning tools. They have the turning tool set 2, which are turning tools that came out over the last 5 to 10 years that are inspired by Peterson Manufacturing with their pry bar. The design was actually first found in the lockpick design manual in 1972 or 1973 and popularized by Peterson Manufacturing based out of Rochester, New York. So these came out about 5 to 10 years ago. These are really old traditional style locksmith turning tools. But as of recently, not this, those are Covert Instruments, but as of recently, then Christina Palmer came in and consulted and came out with the Tension Set 3. And we have single-ended top of keyway, 90-degree bent turning tools for ergonomic. We have single pry bars here with no teeth. And then we have some more for recessed keyways here, single-ended. And then we have for deep recessed locks right here, single-ended from that turning tool set 3 and a few others. We have bottom of keyway turning tools, and then we have a graduated turning tool there for a total of, I think, 12 or 13 pieces. Or no, it's 15 pieces, if I'm correct. But the one thing that all of the 3 sets that that Multipick was offering, of all the 3 things, they didn't offer these double-ended flat pry bar turning tools and the double-ended Christina Palmer design ones here. We had them in single-ended, long, bottom of keyway, single-ended, and top of keyway, single-ended. But Multipick sold these Christina Palmer designs here, double-ended ones, just like we've seen going all the way back to Southern Specialties over here, and the same ones that are used by Covert Instruments and the same ones that are used by Tool. And Multipick wasn't selling these in a set, and these are my favorite turning tools by far. So I said, we need to put these in a set, and we, just like in the basic set, and we need to utilize these. These are not offered in any of the Multipick sets either. These are double-ended turning tools for top of keyway, primarily, specifically for float picking and for picking deadbolts. And we have one that's recessed and one that's slightly recessed here. And I said, why don't you sell these in a set, like a set 4, and this could be your everyday carry, compact, minimalist tension wrench set. And so maybe they'll go with that, maybe they won't, but this is what I wanted in my pick set offerings because this is honestly all I use. Sometimes you'll see my YouTube videos where I will use these guys right here because they sit nice and flush against the face of the lock. But for everyday carry, everyday use, when I go to locksport meetups, when I go to competitions, and when I pick on my couch or throughout the house, when I'm not at my lock picking station, all I'd use is just these 6 tools right here because they're double-ended. There's a total of 12 profiles to work with. So let's talk about the intermediate pick set. So aside from my intermediate pick set and my pick sets in general, offering completely different tools from any of the current turning tools that are available from any other current pick sets from Multipick, I also have chosen to go with a flat hook and a medium flat hook and a rounded hook and a medium rounded hook. in 6mm, which is also 23.5 thou. And then I also asked to put in another flat hook and another rounded hook in 0.4mm, which is 16 thousandths of an inch. We have the Bogota, and then I have a Christina Palmer tall quad rake and a Christina Palmer tall quint rake. I found these very successful in commercial and residential locks, and I really like this on pad locks. And that was my intermediate set. I really like this intermediate set, and this is nothing like anything else that Multipick offers, and it's quite affordable. Let's take a look at the advanced pick set real quick. The advanced pick set is everything in the intermediate set plus a little bit more. Let's start with right to left. We have just the 6 turning tools. I didn't want an excess of turning tools. I really feel like I can pick all the locks in the world, from white to red belt, you know, at the very least with these 6 turning tools. I have the Bogota, I have the tall Christina Palmer quad and quint rakes, and I have the shortest Christina Palmer quad and quint rakes. And then I have the short hooks. I have short, medium, and tall. And then I have the round hooks, short, medium, tall. And then I have the thins, which are the closest Multipick currently has to a gym style hook. And that was a part of my consultation. I was like, man, I really love the gym style hook, but these hooks come really close. I really like these. These are really great for picking those locks with really small pin cores, such as Master Lotto, Master Pro Series padlocks, which is the same that's in a Master Lotto. We also have American Lock, 1100, 5200, you know, series type cores with those pins. You know, Pack Lock 90, 90A, 90A Pro, things like that. I really like using these swooped hooks right here that I would consider a sharp, very similar to a gym hook. But not only do I have 3 different heights in flat hooks, rounded hooks, and these thins, but I also have them in 0.4mm, so 16 thousandths. So 23.5 thou from each profile and 16 thousandths from each profile as well. And that is the advanced pick set. So that's some of the ideology, or I guess that is the background as to why I consulted and created these pick sets. I was definitely heavily influenced by Covert Instruments, but only because I know the history of where the Covert Instruments tools come from, going all the way back to the lab tools, and that inspired Christina Palmer to make her double-ended turning tools the way she did, and the popularity of the 2500 classic pick set from Southern Specialties, and all of the tools that have come out since then. Some people have noted in the past, Sandman doesn't like small lock picks, and you're absolutely right. Multipick makes some of the smallest lock picks on the market. However, I have made a small investment on 3D printed handles like this, and these are just magnetic. I can take any of the 0.4, 0.5, or 0.6mm handles and place them in a 3D printed handle with magnets, and they don't wiggle, they don't move around, and these are the exact same size as Jimy Longs. Isn't that awesome? I love it. So this is something I've been using a lot lately, is 3D printed handles. To be able to compensate for how small the Multipick tools are for my hand. Moving forward in the future, I am working with Multipick on creating a Sandman Essential Lockpick Kit, which would be something based off of what I personally use. It's not something I would recommend for a beginner. It's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's also possibly going to have a couple tools for dimple locks, because there are multi-lock dimple locks here in North America and dimple locks in South America. So I am putting together a lockpick set with possibly some brand new profiles that are currently not available among the 107 profiles that's offered by Multipick at this time. So I'm looking forward to that, and it's going to be a set that I actually personally use, and that's something I'm super excited about. These are all sets that I recommend for anybody, and these are probably sets I'm going to be taking with me to locksport meetups moving forward in the future. How cool is that? Again, I can't thank Multipick enough for listening to my consultation, taking my advice, trusting me, believing in me, supporting my channel, sending me tools. They have absolutely gone just so far above and beyond what somebody could ask for. And I'm not even an employee. I'm not an ambassador. I have zero relationship with Multipick other than I have a YouTube channel and they send me product for review. But now I get to say that I have my name, my moniker Sandman on their lockpick sets. Let's go. That's so cool. I'm so excited. I'm so fortunate. I'm so happy. While we're on the discussion of these 3D printed handles, these actually still fit the Multipick case. Just in case you were wondering and you're like, Sandman, I really like these tools. I want to get the 3D printed handles. Will they still fit the case, yeah, they absolutely do. And that's one thing I really wanted out of these handles, was I needed them to be applicable to the case. They fit all of the multi-pick cases, honestly. So that's what I love about it. I really can't wait to see what else Multipick comes out. Multipick, thank you so much for sponsoring my channel and for this collaboration. I really appreciate it. I really do think that these are going to be very popular in Europe. I really love the more affordable offerings to be able to get tools in the hands of the brand new lock pickers that we have. Now we also have distributors like Lockpickers Bench, based out of Alaska, who can do $9 flat rate shipping anywhere in the lower 48 states of the United States. And so I'm looking forward to seeing if we can get more multi-pick tools in the hands of lockpickers. Folks, I'm still going to keep my reviews completely objective. I'm still going to tell you what's on my mind and what I think is, you know, great, what's worth an investment, where it's not. Obviously, I'm going to have a little bit of a bias towards my consultation because they're based off of my opinions and it's with one of the best manufacturers in the world, but I will always disclose that in the videos moving forward, that I have designed tools for multi-pick and all the opinions are of my own. Let me know in the comments down below. Did I mess up anything talking about the history of some of these tools? What did I not get right? I'm sure I got a lot wrong, but that's how I remember things. I'm 40 years old. I've forgotten more than I know at this point. So, but I really appreciate all the people that have helped me get to this point. I didn't design anything. This was just a collaboration, and it was just a group think on trying to create lockpick sets that might appeal to the European and North American demographic. The number one question is, what's the first lockpick set I should buy? And now I'm very proud to say that Multipick can absolutely enter that conversation with a pick set that is sub $20 with their starter pick set. So that's really what I love about this. And then I think the beginner pick set is around $30 to $35. Intermediate set is twice that, and the advanced set is twice that. So I really feel like I hit all of the price ranges for those that are just getting into the hobby. Multipick also did do one more solid for me. They also created expansion sets. They created the Sandman expansion set 1, 2, and 3. And what these are is they're all 16 thousandths of an inch or 0.4 millimeter thickness of flats, rounds, and sharps, and all of the profile heights of short, medium, and tall. So if you were to buy a multi-pick starter set, you could totally just buy the Sandman expansion sets and add that to this, and you would have everything that you need. It's not the full advanced set, but you'll have the starter set in 23 thousandths of an inch or 0.6 millimeter, and then you'll have 9 tools in 0.4 millimeter. So you can start tackling highly paracentric keyways and more advanced locks. Alternatively, you can add this to the beginner set or the intermediate set as well. Just don't add this to the advanced set because the advanced set has all of these tools in it. I will be reviewing all of these sets individually over the coming weeks so I can give you more of an idea as to what they were designed for and what they're great for, and that's that. So thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what are your thoughts on all of this, and I really appreciate all of you. You guys made me popular in the eyes of all of you, but in the eyes of the manufacturers, so that I could do this collaboration. I can't thank all of you enough. And Multipick, thank you for everything that you've done to me. Really, thank you very much. Folks, that's all I have for today. Remember, I'm not rich, I'm irresponsible, and I'm just a businessman blessed with many friends. And I'll catch you guys next time.
Mr. Sandman, bring